Hello, Khoi.
Hi, Caio. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Khoi.
Hello, Mike.
Hey, Caio.
So today, iOS Dev Mentoring number 4 will be running a mock senior iOS interview with Khoi. So first, we'll be asking some questions to get to know you better. Then, we'll go through a TDD pairing exercise, and you will be driving.
Okay.
So we're going to provide a simple challenge. We don't need to overcomplicate it. It should be done quickly.
Yeah.
And lastly, we'll ask you a mix of technical questions. They're common for senior iOS developer roles. And you also can ask us questions at any time.
Yep.
Okay.
And at the end, you also have more time to ask us any questions regarding interviews in general.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to start with the questions to get to know you better. And the goal of those questions is to understand if you fit the team culture. Like, do you share the same passion for software? Do you share the same values, the same processes? Do you like the same style of programming? Because there are so many styles of programming.
Yeah.
And how you approach solving problems. So that's what people look for when they're asking those initial questions in an interview. So normally what they're going to ask in the beginning will be just to tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience.
Okay. Okay. So to answer this question, so I'm Khoi. I'm from Vietnam, and currently I'm working in Singapore, and I have been working as an iOS developer for more than 6 years now. Mostly working on iPad and iPhone and iPad application. I have experience with both Objective-C and Swift, and but I prefer to work with Swift because I have more time working with Swift, so I'm more proficient in Swift. Yeah. My target in the near future is keep improving myself to reach to the senior developer, and I can improve myself. So, yeah.
Okay, so you are living now in Singapore?
Yeah, I have been working in Singapore for more than 1.5 years.
And before that, you were in Vietnam?
Yeah. Sorry. Before that, I was I have 1.5 years working in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Okay. Nice.
For a startup in F&B industry for the reservation management for a restaurant. Yeah, and even before that, I was working in Vietnam, mostly for the outsourcing company, working with the projects, and yeah.
Now, are you happy in Singapore, or are you planning to move?
I think in the near future, I will be settled out here for 1 and 2 years, try to reach to some kind of to the new level before moving to a new place. I actually try to apply to Europe, London, Amsterdam companies few times, but actually I failed. Yeah. So I tried. I settled down a little bit. I think I should give myself some time and try to improve myself at this time.
Yeah. So I'm asking this because as an interviewer, I'm interested to know that if I'm gonna, let's say, I'm a company in Singapore, and I'm hiring you, I want to know if you want to establish yourself in Singapore, or if you were planning to leave in 6 months or a year. Right? It may be problematic because if I want someone to be here in the long term and I want to develop them and invest in their training and have someone for the long term, but you are planning to leave in a short period, maybe it's not going to match. But some companies are looking for short contracts as well, so that might work. Right? So that's why I asked this question, if you're happy there, if you're established, and Or if you have like any plans to move somewhere else. Maybe you say, oh, I have a plan to move to London and my company actually has a branch in London. We could work that out, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So normally here they would also ask about like visa, if you have like any visa problems in the near future to stay in Singapore, you know, or if you want to go, let's say I want to work in London, like do you have a visa to work there? Because if not, maybe we cannot sponsor you.
Okay.
Or maybe we can. So they will ask these as well, because visa is a big problem for companies. They lose a lot of talent because of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What kind of projects do you like to work with?
I have been working with like in like restaurant management application. I have been working for like an airline application for an airline. So like I think like the thing that I really want to work with is like the project that challenged me enough so I can I can put more effort, and I feel like I'm challenged, and so it will like pushing me to like put more effort, and so that I can improve myself more, and especially like follow TDD and writing tests and pairing, like doing the best practice stuff, so I can keep improving myself beside contributing to the company or the team. Yeah. It's not really in any industry, like,
So what I get from this is that you want to be in a project where you have the space to do a proper job, right? To do proper work. So you're not rushing all the time and you don't have enough time to do the proper like testing and developing and designing the app, right?
Yes.
So you don't want to work in a rushed environment.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, I understand. The practices outweigh the subject of the application, basically. So you're interested more in having good practices in the team, right? And improving through the practices that the team can offer and the company can offer. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. You're more interested in the whole process, in working with people, in working in teams, rather than a specific product, right? You're more interested in the process, being part of something greater.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
Exactly. Because it's more adaptive. That's the foundation for adapting to any kind of project, basically. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would just like say that more like clearly, more specifically, saying that you want to be part of a team, of a project where you have space to deliver great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next question. What is the iOS project you're most proud of that you built? And why?
Okay. So like last year, actually, the iOS project that I like proud of is just last year, since I joined the ally company, and like they before that, right, I just writing the application, just writing the code, like with no test, no thing.
Right.
But when I joined the company, right, like it's just like mind-blown. Like they do everything properly, planning, sprinting, they do pairing, they do TD, like everything is just like, wow, I never know this even exists before that. And I will like learn so much thing, even like new technology, so, and I was like moving really fast in last year. Yeah. And that's make me proud. Yeah.
So the project where you had the space to do a proper work without rushing, right?
Yes.
And you had support, pairing, and anything you needed. You had like the whole team working together.
Yeah.
And have you ever had this experience again, or was this only one company?
Yeah, this is one company. Yeah, like it's like for 1 year, last for 1 year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And did you learn enough that you could bring the culture and that process into another company and help them also achieve that level of like programmer happiness and productivity?
Yeah, like okay. So after 1 year of contract, right, I'm moving to a new company, and like this company doesn't follow TD and testing and those stuff. Then I proposed to the team, but like they have been working like that for 10 years, and you
Right.
just like a newbie come in and want to change like
Yeah.
almost everything.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So you're looking for a senior position or a lead position where you can have more influence?
Maybe senior for now, but I'm have ambitious to take the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe in the senior position I can try to mentor some junior guys to try to actually like learn how to lead people.
Right.
Yeah.
So you need to find a team where you have a good lead that can give you the space to improve,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What are you looking for in a new role?
So in the new role, right, I'm trying I will like looking for some I want to work in a team like we will like follow the best practice. We will follow the TDD writing test. We will like do pairing or not. Yeah, but the mostly like I want to follow the best practice and like to learn and improving myself. Like yeah.
And you're looking to stay for the long term, or you want like a short contract? What are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, like as long as I find myself improving and happy with the role, right? I'm willing to stay long term.
Okay. Companies will always ask you that, like if you're willing to stay for the long term, because they're gonna see if it matches what they're planning, right? If they're planning a project that they need people to be there for the long term supporting it, like depending on your reply, they're gonna filter you already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So next question. How do you keep up to date and improve your skills?
Yeah, like mostly what I normally do is like reading blogs on Medium, some kind of website, like sign up for courses like iOS Lead Essential, and yeah, that's it mostly. Watching the Apple
WWDC.
WWDC, yes. Yeah, that is mostly I'm doing.
Okay, so that's the keeping up to date, right? You consume a lot of blog posts, courses.
Yeah.
Videos.
And how do you improve the skills? Do you actually practice the ideas?
Yeah, not really. Like I think that's what makes me like, yeah. I'm not really like doing something, coding any side project or doing anything beside the work, daily work. Yeah, to be honest.
So you're practicing at work, pretty much.
Yeah.
This can be problematic because at work you don't have enough space to actually practice things, right? Because you have the rush, you have deadlines. It's just like, imagine that you play guitar. You don't learn on the stage, right? You practice before, and then when you go to the stage to play for a bunch of people, that's not practice, right? That's performing, right? So when you are at work, you are performing and not actually practicing that much. Unless you are in a company where they give you like some trainings and you have like some days of the week where you can play with your own projects. But that's not very common.
Yeah.
Right? So if you don't have that, you have to find time in your own schedule to practice a little bit some techniques to improve. Because if you just depend on a company giving you the space, if you don't get that space, you're not going to improve, right?
Yeah.
You cannot delegate this to a company.
Yeah.
If you can, that's fantastic. If you have a company that invests in you and give you the training, and you should be looking for those companies. But until you get there, you need to practice, right? You need to practice on your own and not just like read and watch videos, but actually practice it as well.
Yes.
And this, of course, goes beyond the interview scope, right? This is about you. This is like literally the way to improve. Right?
Yes.
Because you can read the blog posts and you can watch the WWDC videos. Like personally, I watch them every year, and 30 minutes later, I don't remember what I saw, unless I sit down and I start a pet project, or I start implementing some of the new technologies in my existing code bases, right? So this is a continuous loop there that you need to run.
Yeah.
So it's not just about looking good in an interview. It's like literally, this is how you build the foundation for improving.
Yes.
And also, as you learn things from blog posts and you try it out, you may figure out some things that they didn't talk about in the blog post. So what do? You write a blog post about it and you start contributing back to the community. You start creating an audience, right? You start helping others. And by doing this, you're going to increase your influence. People know you more. And you might start getting offers directly. You don't have to go to interviews. That's what you should aim for, right? Because if they come to you directly and say, hey, I really like your blog. I really like what you're doing. I really like the way you develop apps. You care about the high standards, the testing part of it, and we want to hire you.
Okay.
You might not even have to go through a dev interview because they already know what you're about. They already know you. They already know your blog. They know what you care about. And they go directly to you. You have much more leverage in negotiating a better salary.
Yeah.
Like just depending on CV, every time you go to an interview and you show on a CV, you need to present yourself and you have like 30 minutes to make a good impression, Or you can build an impression throughout the years by sharing content, by sharing knowledge out there and showing that you care, showing a portfolio of things you do on GitHub, on your blog posts, on maybe videos on YouTube. And this is going to help you, right? People will come to you rather than you going after them. It's a much better position you can be in.
Yeah, correct.
And you're going to be improving your skills. And by sharing this, you're going to be getting an audience, like attention.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
Yeah. Thank you for a great idea.
All right, last question. What's your favorite iOS app and why?
Yes, I am recording.
Any application, any iOS.
Yeah. I think the app I use the most is like Wunderlist, like the app that for the checklist.
Yes.
You do it every day. Yeah, I think the reason why I find this that's my favorite app because like it's simple enough and it's easy to use, super easy to use, and like like everything just like tick 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 and like you know what to do when you open the application, right? It's really easy, and what like you even like you can share your like task and like you can do everything. Like let's for example when my wife asked me to buy something, she will make a list and then she share it to me, and then on the way back, like I will go to the supermarket and just grab it. It's so super easy to do it. Yeah, that's super useful now application.
You like it because it's easy to use, it's simple, it's intuitive, and it has great features for sharing things with others.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And like I think the application doesn't need to be like complicated to be useful to user, right? Like I think it's just that simple but the people find it's really useful.
Fantastic. Nice. So that's it for the first part. That's normally what companies would ask, just to get to know you better, know a little bit about your personality, a little bit about your experience, a little bit about how do you develop your skills.
What do you care about?
What do you care about, you know? It's not very like technical in the beginning. This is more about like, do you fit our culture? Do you have a similar mindset? You know, I already got that you want to work in projects with high standards, following processes like TDD, good design, pairing, you know, and if I'm a company that we don't have that and we don't want that, we would filter you out, but that's fine because the filter goes both ways. You need to be yourself and say, that's how I like to work, because that's how you're going to find companies that you'll be happy to work in, you know, to be part of.
Yeah.
So that's it. It's a both ways filter. I see a lot of developers that they say what the company wants to hear.
Yeah.
And what happens, they end up in a project where they're unhappy.
Agree.
So I'm happy that you go after and you're really assertive with what you want.
Yeah.
You want to be part of a team that they're not rushing. They have good processes. They collaborate well. They pair. They follow TDD. They follow good design principles. And that's it. You know, like just be yourself in this part and be true to what you want, because that's how you're going to find good companies.
Yeah. Thank you.
Next part is the TDD exercise. And we're going to do a pair programming session. Normally, companies would ask you to write a software on your own time. I don't like to do that when I'm interviewing people, because I like to pair with them in a short exercise. So I respect your time.
Okay.
Because if I ask you to do a very hard challenge that's going to take you a week and you're going to do it for free, you know, like it's not very nice. I prefer just to pair and see like how you work, how familiar you are with Xcode, with Swift, with the tools, and how do you solve problems? How do you approach it? How you communicate with me during the session? You know, like how you think when you're solving a problem.
Yeah, and feel free to ask any question you like. We're here to help.
Yes.
Okay.
Any given time.
Yeah, that's very important, because you see a bunch of developers that they think they must finish the challenge. I think more important than finishing the challenge is communicating well, you know, like having fun in the process, communicating, asking questions. Because if you get stuck, some developers think, oh, if I ask a question, they're going to think I don't have the answer and that I'm not good enough. And they don't ask the question, and that's why they fail. So no, just feel free to ask questions, you know, because you're eliminating assumptions, and you're going to asking questions. I'm going to give you answers. It's going to be easier for you to finish the challenge. That's your goal. So the challenge is to write a program using TDD that prints the numbers from 1 to 100. But for multiples of 3, you're going to print fees instead of the number. For multiples of 5, you print bus. And for numbers that are multiple of both 3 and 5, fees bus. So you're printing 1, 2, fees, 4, bus, fees, 7, 8, fees, bus, 11, fees, 13, 14, fees, bus, 16, 17, etc. until 100. But the idea is just to see how you solve that challenge following TDD.
Okay, let me share my screen. See it?
Yes.
Okay. So let me create the single application. Fees unit test. Okay. Fees application. Okay. Okay. Let's start with the test. Okay. Let's say I will get rid with the current test. So I think there are 3 cases here. 4 cases, like the fees bus, and the default one will be printing the number. So like for this, okay, let's write the test.
Let's start with one first, like first case, the simplest case.
Test print number number when in default case, let's say. So what we will assert will be assert. Let's say there will be a sut dot print. No, let's say numbers. Maybe result will be. Oh, sorry. Assert equal. Result will be number. It should be a string, right?
Yeah, it can be a string. It can be anything. That's up to you.
Yeah. Maybe like this. Just assume that.
Okay, so you're printing 0.
Yeah, when we have an SUT, will be fees, bus, printer, and SUT dot print. Let's say it will return the result.
Okay.
Yeah, so I will create a class for SUT. Let's say class feasible printer. Inside we'll have like a print function, and it will return a string.
Okay.
It will actually it will get the something like numbers, right? Type in.
Yes.
And it will return a print, return a string. So right now, right, I will just return the number.
So we're not going to see a failing test.
No, sorry. Okay, let's just run. So the compiler will let us see the failing test. Now, actually, I need to put down a number here.
Yep.
Let's say 0.
Yeah, it needs to match. So 0, 0. Yeah. Okay. Time for a coffee.
Yeah. It's running the simulation. That's why we should start with the iOS like framework. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to ask you. Why did you decide to go with a single view application, not a framework?
Yeah, like I think it's just a small application.
Yeah, it could be even a macOS framework, right?
Yeah, I think it's better.
Because that's the core functionality, right? There's no user interface.
It shouldn't be in the It's not relative to the UI stuff.
Yeah, if there's no UI, it doesn't need to be a real application running the simulator, which would be much faster for the whole process.
So if you have just to run tests, basically, you don't have to run them through the simulator. So the iOS application will run the tests through the simulator. And that's a difference with the macOS target, where you don't run the simulator. Thus, you're going to end up with a much, much faster feedback loop, which is very nice to have for your own projects and your interview.
I just realized that I thought it's going to be fast, but then it's create like a silence, like time, and like it's awkward actually.
Exactly.
Like right now it's a failing test. Okay, let's say to make the test pass, right, I will just putting the numbers here.
Why not just return 0?
I think because like it's gonna be like it's gonna fix. It's a hard code value, right?
Yes.
I mean, yeah. So I think it doesn't mean anything if I just put 0 and maybe just put 0 and then having another test.
That's right, exactly. Because the simplest thing you can do right now for this test to pass, right? So you can then add a new test to invalidate the hard-coded value and introduce some behavior to make the new test pass.
Okay. So should I like refactor the name of this?
Yeah, I think
Bring
so.
number. What is the name? Should be
Print number 0?
Yeah, print 0. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you don't need in there, right? It's just number 0.
That's it.
Okay.
And test. Right now we write the second test to bring, let's say, number 1.
Yes.
I will do like everything almost the same. Space it here. Okay. I should, like, I don't need even pass 1. No, yeah, let's pass 1 here. And we will expect this one will return, bring out number 1, right?
Yes.
And this one a fail. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So right now I will need to change the implementation of the function.
Yes.
So it will be number. And I run the test to make it pass. Yeah. It's green. Then let's do a refactoring. Here. Yeah. I will make helper function private make SUT, and we will return a feasible printer. It will need a number. Type in. Okay. Oh no, sorry, we don't need this. Yeah. So this will become this make SUT. Make SUT.
So what did you achieve with that refactoring?
Like, let's say if next time, right, you want to inject some value here in the feasible printer class, right? You don't need to change, like you only need to change in the max SUT, no? Yeah. So it's like will happen, like, yeah.
Right, so you're protecting the test against breaking changes if the initializer signature of this class changes.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, maybe I will refactor one more, like private expect.
It's missing the function. Func.
Yeah. Spec.
Okay, what are you trying to achieve?
Like I saw this duplicate code, right? So I think I should like refactoring this thing into one line. Expect. Yeah. Print. Number. Integer. Like result with result. Maybe string, and we will assert equal no, I should.
Yeah, what if you make the SUT in there as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, make much more sense. SUT and then SUT dot print number.
Yeah.
That's the number.
And assert with the result is equal the result.
That's it.
Yeah. So I think can we place all this expect to print number 1, right? With the result 1. Here, expect print 0, 0.
That's it.
So I will try to run the test again. Yeah.
That's it.
So I think that is the case for the number. So it's So let's say it will gonna be like a fees case. It should bring the fees when the number is multiple of 3, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's say fun test print fees when number is multiple of 3. Okay.
So just before we carry on, let's just review what we've done so far. So you wrote the first test, number 0, and then you wrote the second test, number 1.
Yeah.
And then you refactor to remove duplication.
Yes.
Perfect. Now we're going to a more specialized case.
Yeah.
When the number is multiple of 3. Okay.
Yes. So right here, right? Like, okay, I will expect. Maybe I will put in 3, number 3, and it should be fees.
Yes.
That's it.
I will run the test. Okay. It's a failing test. So to solve this, I suggest we should use some kind of enum here, because this is gonna have like four cases with that enum. Yeah. So let's say I will.
What is the minimum we can do to make this test pass?
Okay. I think just an if else then.
That's it.
Yeah. %3 equals 0. Then return.
So we have only one test case that is testing only the case for 3. Why did you decide to get the multiple already?
Oh.
We don't have enough assertions to
test case.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you could just say if number equals 3.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the simplest thing.
I know it sounds silly, but
yeah. Like
classic.
Yeah, like because
if you just go ahead and implement too many things, maybe you don't have enough test cases to prove that your code actually works.
Yeah, correct.
And you will just skip and not write enough assertions.
Exactly.
But by being like implementing the bare minimum, you more likely say, I'm not confident with my assertions yet. So we're going to add more assertions. And those tests are going to bring more confidence into your code.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that you can end up with any solution that you want. I don't know if the enum it's going to work, but perhaps it will, right? But what you want is build your way there. You don't want to introduce your assumption right in the beginning. No, just build your way and validate your assumption that this is going to work.
Because you had a failing test and you were thinking about designing an enum, and maybe you will get stuck in designing that enum for 5 minutes.
Okay.
So just make the test pass, and then you make the test pass, and then you make the test pass, and you keep refactoring when you have a test passing. Because like introducing a new design, introducing a new enum, that's a refactoring phase.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
So let's add one more case, multiple of 3.
Yeah. the test is passed, so I should
Yeah, just there's a
Let's
typo
create
in the
one
name
more.
there. It's multiple of 3.
Okay. It should, I think just for the test case, this should be only 3, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Multiple of 3.
Yes,
Multiple.
that's it.
Yeah. So for this one,
Mhm.
for this test case, right? Like we need to test several value instead of just like 3, 6, 9, 12. What happened when it's gonna be like 201, right?
Yeah, like we just
So-
need enough evidence that
Yeah,
it
exactly.
works for multiples of 3. So let's
you get-
just create some like 3,
numbers.
6, 9, 12.
Yeah, 6, 1, 75, 45, and then like 66. Okay.
So 45 is problematic, right? Because it's
Yes.
going to conflict with FizzBuzz.
With visible, yeah.
Why don't we do the simplest thing here, which is 369? Let's just get 369,
Yeah.
because the point here is to remove the hard-coded if statement, right?
Yeah. Then just do it here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. For each okay, maybe I need self. No, should be
Yes, that's it.
That's it.
yeah. Yeah, it's a failing test. Yeah. So let's do the implementation.
Can we see the message in the failing test?
Yeah.
Okay, 12 is now 6 and 9. Yeah. It's important because sometimes the test fails because not what we expect.
Yeah.
So it's important to see the failing test message.
Sure. So then I will change this one into percentage of 3 equals 0. Then I will print the fees.
That's it.
Again.
That should do it. Okay.
Fees not equal 0. Wow. Yeah.
Right. So
Then-
this is like a special case, right?
Yeah.
For 0.
So for 0, it should bring 0 or should bring fees. Like based on the rule, right? It should bring 0, right?
But the rule we asked it was to print numbers from 1 to 100.
Oh. That's
So the 0 is a special
Mhm.
case.
then yeah.
That you can decide to handle it or not,
Mm-hmm.
but it was not in the initial challenge.
Yeah.
It's 1 to 100.
Then I think I just remove this, and maybe I will update one more value, like let's say it's gonna be 2, and remove the 0 cases.
Yeah, it's up to you if you want to handle it or not.
Yeah.
So you need to change the name of the test there. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. The test passing for the refactoring phases, like right now it's just an if, right? Yeah, I think I'm okay with this logic because it's just if else. Yeah.
Looks good.
Then just moving on to another one is buzz, right?
That's it.
Once
Yes.
test
Multiples of 5.
bring buzz when number is multiple of 5. Yeah, I will copy again. I will copy this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I will change the number to 5, 10, not 15, it's going to be 20. Yeah,
Yes.
I will run the test.
Well, the expectation is wrong.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. This number is okay. Run the test.
That's the problem with copy and paste.
Yeah. Classic.
Mhm.
Yeah, and as you saw, Khoi, like it's probably better to run all the tests.
Okay.
Yeah, because as Caio mentioned before, like I don't know, we can break something without knowing. So you always want to run the whole test case or suite.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the error. Yeah. Just do the implementation.
Yep.
Okay.
I think we miss a case here. Like it just bring. Yeah. I think we missed the case here. I think
For
I
5.
just for 5. I think we just need to command this.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, it happens sometimes. We go too much ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Buzz should be 5.
Oh, wait, the name is wrong. No. Yeah, it's 5 there.
Buzz and 5. And this buzz is going to be 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's
okay. Maybe else.
Do you see a failing test?
Not yet. Buzz when the number is 5. Okay. Then I will gonna do an if numbers is equal 5.
Mm-hmm.
Then I will return buzz.
Yep.
That's it. Let's see.
Yeah, it's passing.
That's it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna for the refactoring. I think right now we just leave it there for now.
Yeah.
Then I will uncomment this and change this one to 25 then. I will run the test. Yeah. So it's failed 10, 20, and 25.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will do the implementation here. If it's percentage equals 0, and then it should pass. Yeah.
That's it.
So the test case passes. I want to do some refactoring here. That is like it's just maybe I will put an else here because a number, right? For now, like no, I shouldn't put an else here because we don't handle the 15 case yet.
Well, the good thing is that you can try anything you want. You're in a green state. So if you have an idea of perhaps making your code better, you can just try it.
Yeah, and we have the test case to cover.
Yeah, and if you don't like it or if it doesn't work, you can revert.
Yeah. So right now it's still test. It's still pass.
Okay.
Yeah, I think let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Next case.
Next case is gonna be 15 for the feasible. Text print feasible when number is 15.
That's it.
I just copy this, paste this. 15 is gonna be feasible.
That's it.
Okay, let's run on the test. Yeah. Okay. Test is failing. We got buzz instead of feasible.
Perfect.
Yeah. Let's do one more if case here. If number is equal 15, then return feasible.
That's it. That's it.
And run the test. Yeah, the test passed. Okay. Yeah. I will add one more test case for the multiple of 15.
Mm-hmm.
Feasible when number is multiple of 15. It's gonna be 30, gonna be 60, gonna be 75, and this is gonna be feasible. Let's run the test. Okay, it's failed. Yeah.
Did you make it pass?
Okay. Yeah, let's make it pass. Equal 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be should pass. Yeah. So all the test cases are passed, and yeah. Again, I want to put an else here. Yeah, all the test cases are passed. Yes, look good.
Mm-hmm.
So for the refactoring, yeah, like I say, I want to make an enum here because I think it's look better with enum. It's look clearer with enum actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's say create the enum call feasible enum. So we have like cases, 4 cases, case enum here, fees, case, buzz, case, feasible. And one more case is number. So I'm gonna write a test for the function to map between the number, and it will return an enum.
So what is the goal you're trying to do here?
Like I want to refactor this thing into switch case.
You want to replace the if-else with a switch case.
Yes.
Do you need an enum for that?
No, actually. Yeah. Then okay, then just do it without enum.
Yeah, initially, let's see.
Yeah. Which number case number 0. Okay. The pattern is bool cannot match the value type in.
I think you need a where clause, right?
Okay. Okay. Case where return Fishburst.
Yeah, let's just get that compiling first.
Yeah. Return this one. Okay. Spec a pattern.
Try an underscore after the case.
Underscore.
Yeah, but the space is in between the underscore. And another
One
space after the underscore.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I don't know this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe the if statement is fine.
Yeah.
No, that's the problem. If you try to do some refactorings, you can get stuck in the refactoring for too long. So maybe you can try out some ideas and say, oh, that's not working. Let's not overcomplicate this, like the if else is fine.
Because it's important to ask yourself here, what will you gain by this refactoring? Because as I see it, you end up with more code. As I see it, again, I don't think, that's my personal opinion, it's not more expressive code.
Yes.
The previous, what we have with if statements there is you can read it very easily. If the number is modulo 15 equals 0, then if it's buzz, else if number modulo 5, I mean, it reads nicely.
Yeah. Okay.
Some interviewers might ask you, can you replace an if statement with a switch statement? Just to see if you have mastered the basics of the language,
Right.
Because Swift has so many features around switch statements. It's crazy how many things you can do with that, right?
Yeah.
But let's see other things we can refactor there. Like this number %15. What does this do? It checks if it's multiple of something, right?
Yeah.
You could create a function I think you broke something there.
Yeah.
You need to
I should return this one.
You could create a function that says something like is multiple of.
Yeah, sure.
Right. To improve the readability of this method.
Okay, maybe just private function.
Why would you make it private?
Because the function will be called inside this print, right? We just get the number here. And this function is just called inside this. It doesn't need to be open for the outside, the word outside.
That's it.
Yeah. Is multiple of 15. And we just passing a number.
Which version of Swift are you using?
I think Swift 5. Yeah, Swift 5.
I think you have a is divisible in the standard Swift library. Number dot.
Okay.
You don't need to import it. It should be there already.
Okay.
If you have access to integers. Maybe number dot is divisible by, I think.
So just give it a type. First of all, the number in the signature. Yeah.
Okay. Number dot
is divisible. Is multiple of. Wow. There you go. So you don't even need this function. We can just change your implementation to use the standard function. That's a new thing in Swift 5. So this is something I will be looking for. I will ask these tricky questions like, why don't we refactor to use something like is multiple of, just to know if you are up to date with the updates of the language.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's much more clear. Is
the problem is that you forgot to remove the equal 0.
Yeah, that's it.
of 3. That's it.
The tests.
Yeah.
Exactly. The tests will tell you the truth.
Yeah, that's it.
So
Yeah.
any refactorings you can do in the test side?
Let's see. We have some duplicates here, but I think I'm good with that. What do you think?
Why are you using a for loop and not just adding 3 expectations?
Yeah.
Because you're not saving any lines of code, right? You actually have more lines of code than if you just add 3 expectations.
Yes.
Let's say if this test fails, it's hard to say if it failed because of 25, 10, or 20.
Yes, agree.
Because maybe it passed for 25, but it failed for 10. And then you know exactly what data made your test fail.
10, 20.
So if you have just a few cases, like 3 cases, that's fine. If you had like hundreds, then use a for loop.
Yeah.
Or find another
definitely.
way.
$60 and $75. Remove this. Last one. 6, 9, and 12. Okay, run the test again. Yeah, I think that's it.
I think you can also combine the 3 with the multiples of 3.
Yes, you don't need that.
Because 3 is a multiple of 3, right?
Right, so, yeah, right now it's redundant.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would move the expectation into the other one. So you have like 3, 6, 9, 12.
We have one more cases to cover.
And the same with the 5 and the 15.
Okay, run the test again. Yeah, like I have one more thing. Should we do the same thing with the 1 and 2, right?
We could, and even more add more expectations, like for 4, 7.
String number in default cases. No, it's not clear enough. Like when it's not. No.
Maybe just numbers. Test print numbers, and that's, you have the case of a number.
Yeah, just copy it here. Let's say like any numbers, right? 13,
4.
4.
I like to have like a number close to the next special case. So 3 is a special case. So we have like 2 and 4 to kind of triangulate the cases.
13.
That's 13. Yeah.
24 and 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's run the test again.
Isn't 24 a multiple of 3?
Yeah.
Let's run again because Xcode is showing the wrong
places.
Wrong places, yes. Okay, so look at that. It failed, but you don't know which one, right? You only know because you know that value is wrong. But imagine if this fails. You need to go to another function to check what was wrong. Can you improve that?
Yeah, I can improve this.
Yes.
Yeah. Files.
It's a static string.
You need to set the type. Type first.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a static string.
Static string.
Equals file. Yep.
Equal file. Same thing with line.
Right. That's an unsigned integer. The line.
Yeah. UI.
Unsigned.
UI integer.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's the line.
Hash.
Hash. Okay.
That's it.
So file, line.
So
Right.
this is something you've seen us do in the course
Yeah.
so many times, right? And this is exactly why you need it. Like if you are to create helpers, you need to provide a good feedback mechanism. So
Look at
now
that.
look at this.
It tells you exactly which case fails. And this is just a developer mistake because it is multiple of 3. You should not be there, right?
Yes.
Correct.
That's correct.
Okay.
Like what's going on is correct.
23.
So 23 is good. Yeah. So what you want is you basically don't want to wait for an error to exist, for a failing test to exist. You want to pass the file on the line as you create the private helper.
Yeah, because I noticed this, like in the beginning, you were scrolling to see what was wrong. And I just waited to see if you're going to fix it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, actually, like, I recognize that, but I forgot to, like, this thing. Then I should ask you guys, right? Yeah, that's bad. Yeah, I should even, like, ask this thing.
It's just like improving the feedback, of these tests. And do you even need the make SUT anymore? Everything is behind this expect.
Yeah. Then just move it down. Or maybe even put it here.
Yeah. And now you don't even need an instance of the printer.
Yeah, it could be a static function as well.
This can be a static function.
You can refactor all this without breaking the tests, right?
Yeah, look at that.
It could be just a free function. It could be a static function. Anything you want.
Yeah.
So we're talking about just data manipulation here.
Okay, move now the class to production.
Yeah. I will create a new group. It's called fees plus printer. Okay, create new files. Swift file. Cut this one. Put it here. Doesn't need to for anything. Yeah, I think because we are like in Tesla import here, so I just leave it internal.
Yep. Run the test. Let's see if it still works.
Yeah, all good.
Okay, so you have the function that can print the fizz bus. Now to finish the challenge, you need to print all the numbers from 1 to 100.
Okay. So, yeah. So to do this,
you don't need to use an interface. You can literally print it in a console.
Okay, yeah. In the app delegate or scene delegate, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No worries. Just bring, right, for number in 1 to 100, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will do fees per printer dot print number and
run.
And you want to print that?
Okay. Print that number.
So this is for me. This is a signal right here, Khoi.
Yes.
The fact that it wasn't clear that we had to call the print function, but we already called an API that was named print, but it didn't actually print it didn't produce any console output, for instance, right? So this tells me that perhaps this print API can be renamed to something else because it doesn't tell the truth. It doesn't.
It doesn't mean the correct behavior.
Yeah, but one thing at a time. Let's finish what we were doing first, because if you try to do two things at the same time, you're going to get confused.
Yeah.
Let's run this and see if it works, and then we refactor it.
see the console.
Okay, so there it is.
1, 2, phase 4, bus, phase 7, 8, phase bus, 11, phase 13, 14, phase bus. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Naming now.
My naming. Yeah. So I should rename it as get feasible or no, like
Of is like one name, or parse. So
yeah,
you
parse.
Then you can call this class a Fizzboro's parser.
exactly.
Okay, yeah, sure.
This is a very big change here. Let's run our test first. Make sure everything is passing.
Yeah.
The refactoring doesn't work very well with Xcode yet.
I don't trust it for sure. I don't know if it works or not.
Yeah, it's passing.
Okay.
So now we can do that.
Now I can do the class name.
Yeah, because imagine I'm a client of this API and I see this class printer and I tell it to print, but nothing's printed, you know?
Yeah.
They'll be a bit confusing.
Okay.
Yep.
Enter and run the test again.
Mm-hmm. The test will say the truth.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's it. You passed the challenge. Nice one. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, like it's just like simple application, right? But it's causing like a lot of trouble. Like for me, like I'm still missing something in on the way. Like the naming part, some stuff. Yeah, I think I need to improve there, definitely.
But you feel nervous?
Yeah, like you cannot be like just normal as you are, right? So yeah, I will say yes, but for me, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not really affect me. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because that's important. If you feel nervous, you need to practice more and go to more interviews, you know, because you only get used to it with more experience the more you go through it, right? But if you're fine with it, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, do you have any questions about this exercise, about the pairing session?
Yeah, like in like, do you guys like think that in which thing like I should improve, like or I can do it better?
So for me, what I would like to see is definitely the use of Git in a process like this. Yeah. So just for saving your progress, being able to revert easily if needed. So I think that's very important. And again, in the iOS Lead Essentials, we use Git, as you have seen.
Yes.
Like very, very frequently, right? There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
It's because we want to save our progress and just guarantee that everything is there, everything is reversible easily. So that's one. The other thing is, I think there's definitely like you understand the mechanics of the process. I think you can just improve a bit by not thinking too much ahead. You know, like this is the classic one.
Let's go back a little bit to Git, because I think that's very important.
Yes.
Throughout the refactorings, I felt we were doing like very fragile changes that we were relying on undo. We were relying on things that, let's say if Xcode crashes, which is not that unlikely, you would lose work, right? Or you're relying on commenting out code, and then you can maybe forget to uncomment some things, you know. So if you have Git, you always have like a copy of your code and you can revert to it very quickly. Like you never lose work, right? So if it was part of the process, you make a test pass, boom, you commit before you refactor, and then you refactor, and if you don't like it, we revert it, and you commit again, and you commit, and you revert, you know. It's a much like robust process.
Yeah.
Yes.
Than relying on undo and commenting out code.
Yeah, like in some point of the process, right? I thought that I gonna say it. Okay, usually we should commit at this point or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like again, like I forgot to say it. And like, yeah, again, I should ask if we should do the Git those stuff or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just communicating more, you know, like you can say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
usually we do this here, but because of time constraints or because of whatever, you at least explain your thoughts.
Yeah.
But if you just don't say anything at all, I'm going to think, well, maybe he doesn't use Git as often or as we do. And that's not a problem, right? This is something that we can teach you. If you fit the culture, if you fit, like, if you have the same mindset, if you're looking for improving your skills, you are always a good candidate, you know? But yeah, another thing that Mike said is that you were rushing a little bit and not communicating well what you were doing. Like, I'm going to create an enum here, but you didn't say why, you didn't explain very much. And I felt like you were going to get stuck. I could feel it because you're just rushing a little bit. And I put you back a little bit and say, okay, why don't you just try a switch statement before it? We're creating an enum just to see if it's actually going to improve the code. Or, but not everyone would do that. They would just let you do whatever and just watch you getting stuck, and that would not look good for you.
Yeah.
Right, because you are in a process where when someone is watching you, you get nervous and you do typo mistakes, and you just need to breathe and go slow. And that's the TDD process. You go slow and you do one thing at a time, and at the end you're gonna fulfill all the requirements.
Yeah.
It's not a race.
Yeah.
But if it is a race, they go and say you have 5 minutes to do that. Maybe that's not a company you want to work in, right? Maybe you don't want to be put in that kind of pressure. Because that's not the pressure you want to work in every day. It's not the kind of pressure that you're going to deliver the best work you can. It's not the kind of work you want to deliver. Right? So don't rush. Just go slow.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you did great. All your refactorings were good. You followed the TDD process. You got some steps ahead, but you notice it and you're like, oh, we forgot one test here. So let me comment this out. And that's fine. You know, like you understand it enough that you realize when you didn't, and you told us and you stopped and you were not afraid of saying, hey, I skipped a step here. And then, so let's comment this out and go one step back. That's how you do it, you know?
Yeah. One last thing I would like to say here is, and this comes only with experience, is basically understanding the requirements, understanding what do you need to do. So, for example, I'll give you an example here. So the requirement said just print 100 strings, basically, right? So this is just a simple print loop that we want to see in the console. Here we ended up with an iOS application, like with I don't know, like 10 files, storyboards, app delegates, scene delegates, view controllers, right? So if it's just like a simple loop that you need to print, just, you know, create the context and the environment for printing a simple loop, and that's it. And only if you need extra functionality, extra infrastructure, then bring it in, right?
Yeah, that's it for me as well. Do you have any more questions about the pairing or the interview so far?
Yeah, I think something I should like take experience is like I should communicate more, and like I should like follow my pace, not just rushing too much. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, I noticed that you were telling what you were doing, which is good, but you're not asking us questions regarding, say, I think I'm going to call this function print. What do you think?
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe I will give you some more information that would help you realize that print is not a good name. Or I think I'm going to create a class. I would ask, why do you want to use a class and not just a free function? Why do you need an instance? You know, because by having this conversation, it's going to help you get more information. The more information you have, the better results you can deliver.
Yeah.
Because when we are being tested, we feel like we need to deliver and find the solutions on our own. But if you want to work in a team where people pair and they collaborate well, collaboration is about communication, it's about talking to other people and solving problems together. Not trying to solve everything on your own, but saying, hey, I'm going to do this refactoring here. What do you think if we move this to a function? Rather than saying, I'm going to move this to a function.
Okay.
Right? Especially during an interview, because this person has some expectations. Normally, a developer has their own way of working. They like to have the brackets in a new line or whatever, So by asking more questions, you will get more information about what this pair wants, what this interviewer wants, and how you can deliver better results based on the challenge you have at hand.
Yeah, sure.
Right? So communicating more, not just about telling what you're doing, but also asking more questions.
Yeah.
It's going to help you a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, next part now, the last part. I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to ask you more technical questions. Okay?
Sure. Okay.
Okay, this is a session now for technical questions. So first we ask you more about you, about your experience. Then we have a pairing exercise just to see if we would work well together. If we share the same principles, if we communicate well. You did well in both parts. Now it's the technical part where we're going to ask more like tricky questions about frameworks, about the platform like iOS, like the Swift standard library, things like that.
Yeah.
So first question. What does clean code mean to you?
Okay. So the clean code is like, for me, the clean code is like testable, maintainable, and extendable. So like you say, right? Software, so the code should be solved. So it should be easy to change, and it should be like, easy to refactor and do the requirement change. So to do that, it should be, the clean code will be like, testable, maintainable, and extendable.
So testable, maintainable, and extendable code.
Yeah.
Cool. We're not looking for any definitive answer here. We just, after understanding like how we think about code, so it's testable, maintainable, and extendable, which means it must be understandable, right? You are writing code that is easy to understand, because if you want to maintain it, you need to understand what's going on. Next question. How do you test your code and apps? What kind of strategy do you follow?
We do both way, unit test and UI test. For unit test, we do the isolated test and the integration test. And like we prefer to do the unit test because it's faster and it's like it will give you the quicker response or result for you, so you can like run it multiple times, and it's not affect your productivity. For UI tests, we do some flow testing when you click on button, when you tap on button and those stuff to validate the flow, to validate the integration application. Yeah.
Who are we when you say like we do this? Do you mean that your current job?
Yeah.
No, I mean like the previous company.
The previous company.
Okay.
Yeah.
In this case, it's better if you reply a testing strategy that you think it's good, or if you say like, in my current job, that's how we do it, and I like it. Right?
Or previously, I was using XYZ strategies because XYZ reasons, right?
Yeah.
But as you said, like I prefer unit tests, for example, because they are fast. This is your preference, and this might be your primary testing strategy. Yeah, just explain that.
Yeah.
I like the we, saying we, because like it shows that you are like a team player that like to give like everyone the praise for the good work. But put more context, saying in the previous company I was working, we achieved like good results as a team by doing this and that, and I really liked that approach.
Yeah.
So just a recap, you said unit tests and integration tests because they are faster, and you also have UI tests for the main flows.
Yes.
Right, cool. Next question. How do you design or architect your iOS apps?
So for the architectures of your iOS app, like I think I would try to separate the logic application and the UI application into like separate model. So for the logic part, I will like pack it in like separate frameworks or projects to like for the sake of isolated testing there, to make sure the logic is work before integrated into the UI part. And after integrate the logic into the UI part, I will like do the integration test for them. For the UI design pattern, right? I will choose MVVM, maybe like some technical like iSwift or some iSwift to because MVVM work really well with iSwift for the binding stuff. Yeah.
Would you use Combine? And why would you or why wouldn't you?
Like the thing is, I want to try Combine as well because that is a new feature. Yeah, maybe I would consider to use it instead of iSwift.
Any downside to use Combine right now?
Because new, right? So it's hard to find like documents if you have some problem. One thing, and like I'm not familiar with that. Maybe it would take me more time. Yeah, that is the downside. But yeah,
and support as well, right? iOS 13 in both. If you still support old versions of iOS, you won't be able to use it. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
So how do you design and architect your apps? You separate logic from user interface. So even separate them in different modules. So you can test things in isolation. You can even reuse them in other applications. Then you integrate them.
Yeah.
Which means you can use UIKit and then replace with Sweet UI easily in the future without breaking any logic because everything is separated. And you can test everything in isolation. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I like also how you separated MVVM as a UI architectural pattern and not for the whole application, which it enforces the separation of the business logic and the UI layer, right?
Yeah, a lot of senior developers, they believe that MVVM is their entire application architecture. If you ask them, how do you architect your app? They say MVVM. And say, okay, so your entire app is a user interface. You don't have any logic. And if that's the case, if you don't have any logic, maybe that's fine. But normally you have apps, they have features that can be separated from the user interface.
Yeah.
That's important that you understand that architecting an app is not just the user interface. Right?
Yeah.
There are multiple layers as needed.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Can you describe to us some commonly used design patterns in iOS?
Yeah, like for the UI, for UI design pattern, right? It's like MVVM, MVC, Viper. Yeah. All the design pattern I use is like delegate the design pattern, notification design pattern, share singleton design pattern. Even like it's not recommended.
Why is it not recommended?
Yeah, because like it's really hard to manage, like, because it's so easy to use, like you will overuse it, like singleton becomes everywhere in your application, and like at some point, like you will not know what does it mean, like because it's used singleton usually like manage states, and like you will change it, like it's really hard to handle when it becomes complicated or bigger application, because you cannot set it so easy and you change it like many places.
Right. So you have this mutable state. There is accessed many parts of the application implicitly, and maybe one part of the application may change the state in a way that the other part does not expect it to be changed. And then it's very hard to trace those bugs, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you put threading in the middle there. You have multi-threads applications changing the shared state.
Yeah. Some more is like KVC, KVO, key value coding, and key value observing.
Observer?
Yeah, observer.
Observer pattern. Any other you remember?
What else?
In UIKit? There's the chain responsibility.
So it makes heavy use of that?
With UI responder.
Yeah.
The next responder and the next responder and the next responder.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
there are a bunch of patterns in there. It's important that you understand the main ones. There is like facade that is heavily used with some complex APIs like core data.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just important to know like this vocabulary around patterns used in iOS, because they're going to ask you that in interviews, and they're going to be expecting you to know some of those.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, the builder pattern as well. URL components.
Okay.
All right, that's enough for design patterns. So this is a common question. I recommend you to get more familiar with those.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, next question. What is the difference between array, set, and dictionary in Swift?
Yeah. So firstly, an array is like the sequence of if you need the order, right? So if the order matter, so you will like use the array.
So it's an ordered collection.
Yeah.
Of items.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for set, right? The item of the set cannot be duplicated, and it's based on like the key, and it's just like it's not ordering collection. You will set it by some hash key. The hash key is generated when you insert the item into the set.
So it's unordered, and you said you don't have duplicates, so it's unique.
Yeah.
Unordered, unique collection of unique items.
Yeah.
And based on a hash.
Yeah.
On hashing.
And for dictionary, it's a key value data structure. So you have to put in the key and the value for that key.
So what about the order?
Is it ordered?
No, it's not ordered.
So unordered collection of key value pairs.
Yeah. For when you assess the item of the array, right, you will assess by the index of the item, and
based on indexing. Okay.
Yeah.
And here is based on a key. And how is this key defined?
The key is like it should be adapting the hashable hashable protocol.
Right.
Like in the set, right?
Yeah.
So it needs to be hashable.
So again, you have unique keys there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have unique keys. If you set the same key, you override.
Replace it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And is there any difference between those types in Swift and Objective-C?
So in Objective-C, right? For array you will have NS array and NS mutable array. So for NS array you cannot change the content, the item, and for the mutable you can change each item.
Right, an S array is immutable.
Yeah.
And NS mutable array is mutable.
Yeah.
What is the difference? The array and NS array, like one key difference they have.
The
NS array is a class, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the array
is
a struct.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So the class and struct is like, class is the reference type and struct is value type. Some kind of difference between class and struct is like you cannot inherit from a struct, but you can do it with the class. Mm-hmm. When you assign the value to a struct, it will actually copy the value instead. And when you do assign with the class, it will like reference to it's not create copy, it's a reference.
Right. So that was the next question. It was a nice segue. What is the main difference between a value type and a reference type? And it said that with value types, when on assignment you get a copy of it, and with a reference type you get a shared copy, right?
Yeah.
A reference.
Mm-hmm.
What other differences they have?
For inheritance, you cannot inherit from a struct, but you can do it with a class.
I cannot inherit from a struct, so there is no inheritance.
Yeah.
And value type is immutable, right?
Yeah.
While reference types, they are mutable. What about the allocation? Where is a value type allocated in memory and where a reference type is?
I don't have the answer for that.
Yeah, so value types are often stored in the static memory allocation.
Okay.
But reference types, they're allocated in the heap. So they have a dynamic memory allocation.
Oh,
so just read a little bit about like the differences, because this is going to come up in interviews.
Okay.
Classic computer science-y question.
Yeah. But in Swift, some value types might be stored in the heap, depending on what kind of references they have. If a value type has a reference to an object, but this is hidden from us. But it's important to understand because you may have some performance implications, and depending on the application you're building, if you need some performance like tidy up, you might have to understand these intricacies of the language.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. How do you set up a core data stack?
So Khoi is like a framework to save data locally. I will have like manage object context, and which is used to manage the manage object, and so this is the manage object. So the manage object context will be the manager to manage the object of the core data, the model of the core data.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But how do you create one? How would you set up like the hierarchy? Because you have contexts, right? Let's say, how many contexts would you have? and why?
So I think it will depend on the logic, right? If we should like sharing one context for all the application, or we should break it into like a smaller context.
So would you have a main thread context only, or would you have a background context? When would you use a background context?
I mean, it should be like depend on the business logic instead of the thread, right?
Yeah, it's just that often we try to have a background context for writing to disk.
Okay.
So you have the UI context, which is the main thread context where you can update the UI. But when you want to store data, it's normally better to do it in a background thread because you may get the UI stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So when I ask like, how do you set up a core data stack? I'm looking to know if you understand like which APIs would you use, what kind of like hierarchy would you create with your contexts. So for example, now we have the NS persistent container APIs that drastically simplifies how you instantiate and organize your core data stack.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with core data, if you've been using your current project or not.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with this.
What are you using right now for persistence? RAM.
Okay.
RAM.
RAM.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. Let's say if you're not confident about something, you can say, lately I've been using a lot of RAM. Mm-hmm. So I'm a bit like rusty with core data.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a framework that you haven't used. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the important thing here is to showcase that you understand how a persistence mechanism works, right? So at least you get those points there.
Next question. How do you apply dependency injection?
I don't have answer for this question actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I may use it, but I'm not really realize that because I don't know what is dependency injection.
Okay, so just make a note that like to do some research about it.
Yeah.
We have a lot of content in the course there.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, actually this afternoon, I go through the podcast about this, but I skip it.
So from what I understand, you're definitely using some forms of dependency injection. Perhaps you just don't associate the name dependency injection with the practices. You know? This is important to just spend some time and just practice a little bit.
Because you are using dependency injection 100%. Yes. You just need to learn the vocabulary around it, so you can name what you're doing, right? So constructor injection, composition root, property injection. They're just fancy names for simple things. When you learn the names, you're going to realize that, I've been doing this. Of course I know what this is. So just, just watch the podcast and the lectures again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question. What is continuous integration?
Yeah. So the continuous integration is it's just, it will help you to continuous deliver your code, from, you don't need, let's say whenever you push some code, right, the CI will do the testing for it will run all the tests for you to validate your code and give you the result of the test, and let you know if some tests are failing or not. After testing phase, it can even generate the build or upload to test file for you, so you can do it automatically. Then you don't need to worry. You can just build the CI one time and using it for the for the project. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
and then you don't need to worry about like generate view, upload to test fly and those stuff.
Right. So you described continuous integration server as a tool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But continuous integration is more, it's a practice. It's a practice of continuously merging code with a master branch several times a day, working in a team of people and merging code often. And then you have all these processes that you put in place to automate that process. But the idea of continuous integration is continuously integrating, merging code to a master branch. So everyone can keep producing, keep productivity high in the team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then how do you do it? Well, you automate most of the processes. You have a good testing strategy and you have a server that's going to test the code and merge it for you.
Yeah.
So that's it. Next question. What is continuous deployment?
Like continuous deploy the application to App Store.
So you have continuous integration that's merging code often.
Yeah.
Right? That's the first step. And when you have that automation, then you can have continuous deployment. It means that if you are merging code often and we have no problems and we always in a working state, the tests are passing, why don't we just deploy this often as well to our clients?
Yeah.
Right? So producing software in very short cycles with a reliable process.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean you are actually deploying to customers, but the software is always in a state that it can be deployed.
Yeah.
It's always in a state that is just one button away of shipping to the customers.
Mm.
The master branch, let's say, the trunk, is always ready to be deployed at any stage. All the tests are always passing. Everything is always integrated nicely. And maybe you have feature flags if you don't want some features to be out there, but it's always ready to be shipped. Always, always. That's continuous deployment.
Mm-hmm.
Producing software in short cycles, and you're always ready to ship.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. And just going back here, these two things are very important because if you want to be part of a team that you have the space to deliver great work, they are following like technical excellence processes like these.
Yes.
This is mandatory to have the level of productivity you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Next question. What is the main difference between static and dynamic libraries?
Oh. Yeah. Again, I don't know this.
You probably don't use that very often. It's important to understand these two differences. A static library is linked at compile time. The library is linked with the executable at compile time.
It's like think of it as a collection of files and as a zip file, like you just get a big blob of files and you link it on compilation time.
But a dynamic library is linked at runtime.
Oh.
Which means if it's dynamic, we can replace that library without recompiling the application. For example, you can release your app to the App Store, and with module stability, Apple can change their frameworks behind the scenes without recompiling your application.
Mm-hmm.
Ability of changing dynamically the libraries without recompiling applications.
Okay, that is a whole new concept for me. Yeah.
All right, next. How would you find and fix memory leaks in your iOS apps?
So, firstly, using tests, like by using unit tests, so I can test the maybe the return cycle in our code. That's one way.
Mm-hmm. So it's trying to prevent it with unit tests.
Yeah.
You instantiate your object graph and then you release it and you make sure that everything was released from memory. Right.
Yeah. And one more, I think Apple provide one more tool. It's called instrument to like find the memory leaks and those stuff, even though I'm not really like using them.
Why not?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, like
You should.
yeah,
yeah, exactly. That's one of those that you need to again have an idea of how to find memory leaks, and because it's gonna happen, you know.
Yeah, even with unit tests, it might happen, you know?
yeah.
Okay, next question. You mentioned that
This
you use the delegate pattern. So what is delegation? And how would you use it?
delegation is like a communication pattern to like communicate between two classes or view controllers to like to help the to have the communicate between the view controllers. Let's say
Only view controllers?
no, I mean like classes and like I mean it's just communication between two objects, right? It's not view control, not necessarily view controller or anything. How would I use it? So like um, I will set the delegate, like I will implement the protocol of the delegate and then wait for the message from the delegator and like handle the call there, in my implementation.
So in the delegation, you have two objects, right?
Yeah.
As you say, the delegator and the handler, right?
Yeah.
That receives the message. So it's a communication pattern, as you said, for two objects to communicate. And
Yeah.
as you said, there is a protocol you would use to have an abstraction in between them.
Yes.
So one object doesn't know about the other, right? That's
Yeah.
why.
Cool. Next question. What does the escaping keyword do in Swift? And why would you use it?
The escaping is like using when you are passing the closure and you want to capture it, like for like it, and like
So passing a closure where?
to a function.
Passing a closure as a parameter, right? As a parameter to a function. Okay. And you want to capture it.
Capture it, yeah.
Right.
And for the sake of memory management.
For the sake of memory management. Yes.
Yeah.
One more question. What does the lazy keyword do in Swift?
The lazy keyword is like it's help you when you the properties doesn't need to be initialized when the class is initialized, right? The lazy keyword help you to initialize the property when it is used, when it get called for the first time.
Okay, so when a property doesn't need to be initialized eagerly, only when it's called the first time.
Yeah.
Right. When would you create the?
When you don't need the property in the initialization phase of the class.
Right. So when, like, can you give us an example of when we do that?
Yeah.
Normally use lazy when you have like expensive operations, that it doesn't need to happen eagerly, only if needed. Let's say you need to instantiate an object that it's quite expensive because it opens a connection with like SQLite database and things like that. Then you can do it lazily because it's quite expensive to do.
Yeah.
So you can access it only when you use it.
If you use it as well.
If you use it correctly.
There are other use cases for it, but I think that's the main one. Next, what is dynamic dispatch?
Dynamic display? No, I I don't know what is this.
It's when your program determines which function to invoke at runtime, not at compile time. Like if you have a class and you have like subclasses that override a method.
Okay.
That's why it's called dynamic, because it's dynamically decided at runtime.
Yeah.
Let's say you have an object and you call a method. You cannot tell at compile time which type you're talking to. Let's say a object. We cannot know at compile time if we are passing here a subtype of a object.
Okay.
So which method we are invoking is going to be defined at runtime.
Yeah.
Because this is a class and it can be subclassed. But there is a keyword in Swift that changes this or may change this. So what is the final keyword in Swift?
Yeah, the final keyword is like to define a class that cannot be inherited.
Defines a class that cannot be inherited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just about the class, it's about also members of the class. So if you have a property or a function in that class, you can set it as final.
You cannot override it.
Yeah.
What that would do is going to help out with dynamic dispatch now, because the runtime will know that, hey, this cannot be used.
Yeah, if you have a final class, at compile time, you know which method you're invoking.
Yes.
Because you know that there are no subtypes and there is no possibility that there is another type that might override that. There is no indirection.
Okay.
But you also use final when you don't want to allow extensibility of a class, right? You don't want clients to override your class and maybe introduce bugs in your application.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you are defining this is final. That's how it is. It cannot be extended. And that's it. That's all the questions we have for today. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I actually have a lot of questions if you have some time.
Yeah.
How do you learn like the algorithm and like from the beginning, right? Because what I'm doing is like whenever I have the interview, right, I jump to lead code or HackerRank to like solve some random problem. And like after the interview, like 1 month, 2 months later, and like I forgot everything. Like, and it's keep happening. That it's really taking a lot of time for me to like do it like recursively.
When you say algorithm, you mean specific algorithms like bubble sort and quick sort and this type of thing?
And like just like all the thing, right? Because before the interview, right, you will get a algorithm test used mostly.
Such as?
Like about trees, about
Right.
linked list, graph, and those stuff. Like
Right. So and the problem there, I think it's the answer is in a sense in the question. The problem is like you never use them. Like you don't have the chance to practice. Right. Practice it in that form, right? Because for example, trees and lists and all that stuff, sure, you use them in everyday operations, right? But yeah, if you're not gonna practice something all day long, right, then I don't see an easy fix on.
You will forget because like there's limited space in our memory.
Yeah.
It's impossible that you're going to memorize all the algorithms that are normally asked in interviews. It's not going to happen. So is this happening a lot? Like every interview you go, they ask algorithm challenges and you have to solve on the spot? They're like, do a bubble sort.
No, I mean like they send like codility tests, like it's which include like 3 tests from easy to hard, and like it will based on that. Like I mostly fail on that because like I'm not getting enough point on that page. Yes,
and that's like a filter that you're not passing right now.
Yeah.
If you're going to interviews and this is blocking you from progressing, and let's say where you live, the companies you want to work for, they require that, you're going to have to practice it. You're going to have to, those websites, they have challenges that you can be practicing, not just when you are looking for a job, but you can be running them like do once a week, you do a challenge. Every time you have time, you do a challenge, you practice and then not just practice it, but look, normally when you finish a challenge, you can see other people's solution. Look at the solutions and try to understand different ways of implementing that. More performant, they cover more edge cases and things like that. So you're going to learn by practicing, but don't try to memorize it. But by practicing a lot, you're going to learn how to solve problems, which is a different thing. When you become a problem solver, you can find solutions.
Okay.
So right now, how you're getting a job is you send CVs, you try a code challenge, and then you have to go to an interview and you keep doing this. That's not an efficient way of getting jobs. Why? Because there's another million people doing exactly the same. There's always someone that's going to charge less and work longer, So it's like, it's a race to the bottom and you don't want to be in that race. So right now, that's how you can get jobs. So practice. And let's say if you need a CV to get a job, you better have a very good CV. But we are not good at building CVs because we are developers. What do? You hire someone to help you build a nice CV. Maybe you're going to spend $100. Maybe you're going to spend $200. Maybe you're going to spend $500, $1,000. Doesn't matter. If it helps you get a job that makes you 10K more a year, why wouldn't you spend the money, So if you depend on CV, you better have an amazing CV. If you depend on passing challenges to get a job, you better get very good at passing challenges. Now, if you don't want to depend on those things, and I recommend it that you don't, you need to start building an audience. You need to start building a blog. You need to start putting yourself out there, maybe give some talks, maybe start a YouTube channel, maybe start putting your work out there. So now people start finding you. And people start recommending you. Do you have like community, like meetups around there where you work?
I think there is a community, iOS developer community here. Like they do like Tech Talk once a month.
Once a month you can go there. You can also apply to give a Tech Talk. The things you learn in the course, you can go there and teach other people. Start helping others, start showing your skills. And some people say, but there's no iOS meetup here where I live. Well, start one, Because then you're going to start getting direct requests from companies and you have a much better leverage there. Let's say you want to work for a company and they have a tech blog. You read their tech blog, you comment on their tech blog, you go on Twitter and you ask a question regarding the specific blog post for the person who wrote it, show interest. So when you send a CV, they're like, oh, that's Khoi. He asked me a question last week. Like, you're not an unknown person sending a CV. You are Khoi, the guy that asked me a question last week. And he was very interested in my work. I want to work with him.
Nice.
Because otherwise, if you're just sending CVs, it's very inhuman, right? It's a paper. You look at a paper and and they have a pile of like another 1,000 papers. And they have to look at it for 10 seconds and discard. Which one should I pick? Which one should I not?
They don't even look at it. It's just the machines do it now, In many cases, they just scan your CV for keywords and all that stuff. I agree with Caio. You don't want that.
So, just put yourself out there, meet people, network, put good content out there and keep delivering good work, keep practicing.
Thank you.
One comment there, if so for your exercises, if you were to practice, for example, algorithmic sorting exercises, right? So I personally these are not the things I don't really like them because these are not the things that you're gonna do at work. This is not gonna be your work. This is just an implementation detail for you. Right. So what I would recommend there is make it fun. Just don't get too attached to the strategy. Right. Just understand if I'm doing sorting and I have like a gazillion methods of doing sorting, well, I'm still doing sorting. It doesn't matter that much, like I'm going to use quicksort or whatever else is out there, right?
Yeah.
And what you can do there is you can mix it with your actual work, which is building apps, right? So can you transform that into an app? Can you have like a UI that demonstrates perhaps the strategy you're using for sorting, right?
Oh, okay.
Like you can draw a graph showing the curve.
Yeah, exactly. All that stuff, right? And you're proving it now. And of course, you can TDD that. You can use everything that we talked about here today, and you learn in the course, right?
Yeah.
And you push it to GitHub on your account, because that's going to be your portfolio as well.
Exactly.
All the challenges you solved in there.
So this is how you extract value from a tedious, for me, excuse me, practice like this, right? You're not isolated in the algorithm and data structure world. No, just make it useful, right?
Yeah. Another question.
Yeah, of course.
In your opinion, how does a good job opportunity look like?
I mean, you said in the beginning, what are you looking for? If that's, like if you find an opportunity that fulfills your list of requirements, then, like, I think that's a personal thing,
Yeah, it depends. Like maybe it's like, oh, I'm trying to buy a house. So you need to think about the financial thing.
Right.
Say, looking for improving my skills. So maybe a company that will invest in training you more might be more interesting. So it depends what you're looking for.
Yes.
Right. Is this stability, or like, no, I'm willing to take some risks and go like contracting in another country. And, like I'm adventurous, I'm young, I'm having a family, I'm buying a house. All of those things changes your strategy.
Yeah.
But there are amazing opportunities. If that's what you're asking, there are amazing opportunities out there.
Yeah.
You just need to be prepared to get them.
Yeah. Thank you. Like I used to be asked this question, like, what is your biggest challenges and what make you proud the most? I always confused when answer this question. Like I don't really know how to answer this question, and they really asking this question a lot.
So you've never been challenged?
I mean, like whenever I have something hard, right, and then I get biased, and then I just okay, it's
no big
not
deal.
a challenge anymore.
But so things you can say like, hey, you moved to another country. You moved to 2 countries already. So you can say like moving to a new country with a different culture, a different language, and thriving.
Yeah.
I moved to a new country to get this new big challenge, and we have 7 million users. This is showing that, hey, I made some bold decisions in my career, it's not just about technical, oh, I had a sort algorithm that was hard to implement. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for to see if you take some risks, if you take ownership of problems.
Yeah.
And if you go after it.
Because adversity, for example, is transferable. If someone is willing to go through adversity and is willing to adapt to overcome adversity in one aspect of their lives, most probably they're going to do it for another one, because they can see the value there. And someone else, if they can identify exactly that trait, then they know the attitude is good. And especially if the company has challenges, big challenges, they're going to have to find these sort of people. And it's very, very hard to find these sort of people. So that's a tremendous asset to cultivate and have.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So if I ask you now, one of the biggest challenges you have to go through, what would you say?
Yeah. I don't know, I have to,
I don't know. I think one thing you can say, moving to a new country is such a big thing, maybe for you it wasn't, but it's a big thing, oh, I moved to a new country with my wife and we have to start from scratch here, and all the challenges that come with it, and getting to a new job, into a new culture, and taking this risk and thriving, and now we are stable and we are looking for something bigger now. We want to achieve big things. We have big dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. One more question. Like, how do you evaluate the company? Like by asking questions. Like I remember, like you say, for example, when you ask, what is the biggest problem the company are facing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they are like always try to deliver the application on time or rushing to deliver application, right?
Yeah.
They may don't have the time to refactor the code. Yeah, like, and like, I want to know, like, is there any kind of those questions, like, to help you understand more about the company?
I think normally the first question I would ask is, what does it take to succeed in this company? You know, because I want to know if they have like some kind of path, if they have like, what are their values? Like what kind of things I have to do here to succeed? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, if they say, well, to succeed here, you have to never say no. You never say no. If you have to stay late, you stay late. No one would say that, but you can pick up that that's what I mean, you know?
Yeah. It's also like this sort of question. If you're an interviewer and someone asks you, what does it take to succeed here? You know, like the interviewer should understand that this is not an ordinary person, right, across the table. Because, well, if you succeed, and that's like what skin in the game means, right? They succeed as well, right? And if they succeed, you need to succeed as well. And that's like a brilliant collaboration there. That's what you should be after, right? So
yeah,
this is a great opener, in my opinion. Caio said.
Yeah.
What are you looking for in someone that is going to fill this role is important. So what are you looking for in a dev to fill this role? That's an important one as well. Like, what are you looking for? I would just need someone that comes here and type some code for us. You know, like maybe they don't have a very good challenge for you.
Yeah.
Once I ask this to a company and say, oh, we just hire talent. Like every time we see talent, we just hire them. What does that mean? You're just trying to get people out of the competition, you know, or they say, oh, we are expanding our team to 20 developers. Like, why? And I realized by researching that they were trying to sell out the company. And the more seniors you have, the more money you can get from selling your company, you know? And it's like, am I a product here or am I part of this company? So you need to understand those things. So what are you looking in a dev? If they don't have a very good answer, it's like, maybe they don't need you, you know?
Yeah.
And if they don't need you, you don't want to be there. You want to be in a company where you can contribute and you can grow, right?
Yeah.
So what are you looking for and what is expected as well? What is expected? I don't know, of a dev in this role.
Yeah.
Like, what are you expecting to get from me, you know? What do you expect that someone in my position should do?
Yeah.
They should have a good answer as well.
Yeah, I think like if you want to assess them, like I would go directly, you know, to some specific points that I'm looking out for. For example, how often do you ship? How do you test? Do you test? You know, like these are the things that I care about personally. And I think any business that cares about profitability should care about as well, you know?
Yeah.
So I want to find the intersection there with the business so I can provide my sort of value that it can translate to economic value for the business, right?
Yeah. So if you ask like, how often do you ship? And they say every 6 months.
Right. That's yeah.
I would, like, before going to an interview, if they have an iOS app already that I'm going to be working on, I would check in the App Store how often they release. If they release every 2 months, 3 months, every week, every 2 weeks, because this is going to indicate what kind of process they have there. If I see that the last update was 6 months ago, and then I would ask, how often do you ship? And they say, well, not as often as we would like to. Not as often as we would like to, which means we want to improve that. Right. So you have a huge opportunity to have a positive impact.
Yeah.
Improving the process. That's a skill you can bring. Because as part of those questions, you also want to know that do I have a big opportunity to have a big impact here? By having a big impact, I can progress my career faster as well and take big challenges. Because most people would look and say, oh, they have a terrible process. I don't want to work there. But maybe that's the best place for you to go and have a positive impact and get rewards from that.
Yeah.
Because if you want to work in the perfect place, first of all, it doesn't exist. Like, no place is perfect. It's good to go to a place where they have a good process if you're learning, because then you learn those processes and you get very good at it. And now that you have the skills, you can go to a place that have a bad process and you implement a good process and you improve their deliverability, their productivity, their profitability.
Yeah.
Now, this is a lot of value and you can charge a lot for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Nice.
So how important is testing for the team? Most people are going to say super important. Right?
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to say that.
It's one of those like it does, like maybe you ask, so do you have tests? And they say yes, like we have a bunch of tests, like we have 100% coverage, they might say, right? Well, the thing is, like, if those tests take 2 hours to run. Yeah.
So you need to ask at the same time and they say, yes, of course. Everyone's going to say that. No one's going to say, no, we hate testing. That's never going to happen. But you have to say, okay, what testing strategies do you use? Are you following any process? Right? So do you use practices like TDD and pair programming? Right? What is your testing strategy? And they're going to say, well, testing is very important. What is your testing strategy to use? UI tests. And say, okay, and how often do we run those tests? You know, like one question brings the other.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, well, overnight. Why? Because it takes 4 hours. And then you're like, okay, and are you planning to improve that? Like, do you follow any other practices that can like reduce that time so you can run these tests more often? But like, you start understanding if they think that this is okay.
Yeah.
Because some places, they just think that's okay. That's how things are. But it's not. You know, there are alternatives. And if you're looking for a company that cares about the alternatives, those questions are going to help you find that.
Yeah.
If you run tests overnight, I would ask, because it takes 4 hours. And so, you know, like, and you ask like, so what happens when you get there in the morning and the tests are failing? Well, we debug until they pass. So that's 1 day wasted.
Yeah.
At least. You know, so it like, but you shouldn't ask those questions like challenging them. You should be actually interested. Like, you are interested in understanding how they see development, how they feel about their process. They might say this with shame in their voice, or they might say they're very proud of doing this. And that's not right or wrong. If they are happy with that, and if the business is happy with the output they are producing, that's fine. But would you be happy working in this kind of process? That's a different question. So you're not there to judge them and be like, oh, but I think you should do this. Like, there are people that go to interviews and they want to tell what they should be doing. And that never plays well, you know?
Yeah.
Unless they ask. If they ask you, do you have an idea how we could improve that time?
Okay.
We are not very happy that it takes 4 hours and we have to run them overnight, because when we get there in the morning and they are failing, we have to debug and we waste a day doing that, or maybe 2 days. So we are looking for someone that can come here and help us like reduce this time and help the team improve the process. So they're open to change.
Yeah.
And if you have the skills, or if you want to take that challenge, then it's up to you.
Yeah.
Is there opportunity for you there? That's the question. Like, is this something that can provide an opportunity, a good opportunity for you? Because sure, like, you're never gonna find like, you know, 100% ticking all your boxes kind of situations. That's like, and you shouldn't expect that, right? So, what kind of value can you bring to the table? That's the question, right? And how can you help? Because that's the underlying asset, right? Like
Yeah.
value from you to them. You're helping them, right? And they're helping you.
Yeah.
And everyone can provide value, even a total beginner.
Yes.
Everyone can bring value.
Yeah. I have two more quick questions. Yeah. What did you do? What do you do after work to keep you updated with the new technology?
Practice a lot. I read every day. I read for an hour, which roughly gives me enough time to read a book a week. But not just reading it, right? I'm also reading like blog posts, and I have some people that I follow that I really respect. So you need to choose your sources. You know, if you're reading blog posts on Medium, you might get more confused.
Yeah.
Because everyone says different things.
Yeah.
Unless you follow someone on Medium, is like, I really respect this person. But if you just go on Medium and you click on any link that shows in your homepage, that's going to confuse you, right? Because you might be reading something that is wrong. So you need to find good sources, you know?
Yeah.
So I like books, and I have some people that I follow, that I read everything they write about. I read their books, their blog posts, and then I go and I practice. And I practice. And I practice.
Yeah.
And then I go and I make videos and I help others and I write blog posts. And then I talk to you and to our students, and I help our students as well solve their own problems, you know? So talking to people and helping other people solve their problems as well. That's why it's important that you network and you go to those conferences and talks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, like, I think it takes real skill to be able to filter out the noise and focus on the right thing, on the right sources. And in my experience, you just need to find like the right outlet, and you say, okay, this person, this company, whatever they do, they're the best at this, whatever this might be. That's what I do. You know, I find sources like these people are the best at what they do. They're the best in the industry. It doesn't matter, like whatever, like in my physical activities, like in other endeavors as well, like investing wise, like just find the people that are the best. And of course, like you're gonna have to pay for that, right? Of course, like they're the best for a reason.
Sure.
You need to have skin in the game as well if you want to take their advice, right?
Otherwise, you're left with random posts on Medium that may make no sense, you know?
Yes, exactly, right?
Your sources are the most important thing, you know?
Yes.
Filter the noise. But as Mike said, it's hard. It's a skill.
Yes. Sure. You need conviction. You need conviction. You need to be sure about this, because that's the other problem in Medium and Twitter and all that stuff. You know, like the response from the crowd might be good, which might imply that the content is good as well, but the content might be harmful.
Yeah.
You know?
Like a post with 10,000 likes is not better than a post with 0 likes. The content is going to tell it, not the likes.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So this is it. Like, I don't think you need many sources. Like, that's my opinion. I think 1, 2 maximum, and just study the heck out of the authors, the content creators. Like, just study them again and again and again, you know. And everyone, like, sure, for entertainment purposes, like, you know, I read Twitter for entertainment purposes and the articles out there, but like development wise, they're very, very, like maybe 4 or 5 that I follow, because they have stood the test of time, and they have proved again and again and again that what they're saying is working out for me. Yeah.
One quick last question.
Yeah.
Like, which book to read first, Clean Code or Clean Coder?
I read first the Clean Coder.
Me too.
Which gave me, it gives you this glimpse to the mindset that you need to have. That, you know, like for me, I remember it made me feel like, okay, the idea I have about being a developer is just wrong, because there is so much more responsibility to what I need to become that, no one ever told me about this, and no one talks on Twitter about this, or it's not like the opinion of the masses, right? So I think it's a good idea to read the Clean Coder so you can be exposed to these, types of responsibility you need to have, and the tools to be responsible, right? Yeah. So the tools that are going to help you to become responsible.
You're going to set a framework that if you accept it and you embrace it, you're going to deliver better work, more generous work, more responsible work, because you see yourself as a professional, not just a hacker that goes type code and get paid. There's much more fulfillment in that practice of crafting things with care, not just typing and getting paid and that's it. There's more to it.
Yes.
You don't need to follow the Clean Coder. You don't need to be a professional. But do you find fulfillment in that? Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Are you happy with the people you work? Are you happy with the work you deliver?
Yeah.
That. Those are the questions that's going to bring more fulfillment, more profitability, more generosity in your life. To do a good job, to care about the customers, about the business, about your peers, because at the end of the day, even economically, it makes sense because it's going to all come back to you. Because if you help the business grow, if you help the customers get more value out of the product, there's going to be more investment, there's going to be more money, and everyone's going to win.
Yeah.
That's the idea. That's the idea. To make things better by making better things.
It's hard though,
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility, but it's worth it.
You ask us, for example, should you read the Clean Coder or the Clean Code first? If you go to our book suggestions, which, by the way, both these books are in there, we have another section, about general education books.
Yeah, personal development.
Yeah, and a bunch of them are in business and in finance, and the concepts that are in these fields, they are integral in what we are doing, because we communicate with the business. Because what we are making, for example, is like an underlying product that it's going to be marketed, and people will pay money for that, and the business needs to adjust and to manage money. But you are somewhere there in between all these things. Well, how are you going to make good decisions if you just care about, the technical stuff?
Yeah.
You're going to have to expand your horizons if you want to reach at that level where you're becoming irreplaceable, basically, or not irreplaceable, but you're building unique skills.
Yeah.
Right. And you're providing maximum value, and you're earning maximum value as well. It's up to you to decide.
And ultimately, if you're I have these two books and I have to decide which one to read, don't let that stop you. Just read any of them. Just exactly. Read both. It doesn't matter the order, because at the end, if you really embrace that, you're going to read a book again. Yes. It's in my list to read it again, because every time I read it, something makes more sense or makes a different sense now. Reading a book twice, you learn twice as much.
Yeah.
That is so true. It happened to me, recently we had a podcast and I had to find some passages from the Clean Coder. I was looking through the Clean Coder, and there were some chapters there that I had maybe 3 years to read. And it was just it clicked instantly, what I was reading. I'm 3 years ago, it didn't click. There were some parts. Yeah, of course. So you need to reiterate and just go through the good content again and again and again.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it from my side.
All right. So good luck in your next interviews.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Awesome.
Caio and Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, because this is for taking the time.
Thank you for allowing us to share this video with others, because this is going to help everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks for being part of our community and contributing to it.
Thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
You too.
Happy New Year.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye.